What's up, home team? Episode 5, Jamie's Day Off podcast. You already know what it is. Coming to you live from Lubbock, Texas. Let's get right into it, shall we? First things first, today is September 11th, 2024. And on this exact day back in 2001, we all, you know what happened if you were alive then, which I was. I was a little whippersnapper. I was a little kid when the shit happened, but, the plane flew into the Twin Towers and, took a lot of people's lives, a lot of innocent people's lives. So first and foremost, rest in peace to the people that lost their lives. And, big shout out to the first responders. And, it was a very uneventful day in American history. So, we just want to give a moment of silence for those people. So let's give it a moment of silence. All right. So, like I said, being that it is September 11th, first off, I want to start off with a question. Do you remember where you were that day? And I remember it to an extent. I think I was 9 years old when that happened. Let me see, 8. I was like 9 years old when that happened. And I remember I had just come from school. I think I heard about it when I was at school, that something had happened, that, you heard Twin Towers and plane crash and that sort of thing. And as a little kid, you don't really piece all the pieces, you don't put all the pieces together to form the big picture that it was a terrorist attack. And as a little kid, I'm not sure that you even understand what terrorist or terrorism means. But I remember, that was the case, as I was, while I was at school, and then on my way home, I remember getting home, and as a kid, as soon as you get home from school, you turn on the TV and you start watching cartoons or Disney Channel, whatever the fuck you watched as a kid. I think it was Cartoon Network for me, Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, one of the two. Those were the two big things at the time, and I remember we were lucky enough to have cable for a brief period of time. While I was a kid, and I remember like every channel that you would turn to, I remember turning on the TV, and it was on the news channel, I guess, that my parents were watching or something at the time, or from earlier that day or whatever, while we were at school. But it being on that channel, and I remember like flipping through the TV guide and trying to get to the cartoon channels. But that it was it was just this big picture. I mean, it was the live coverage. It was looking at the Twin Towers. One of them was like, partially blasted. That motherfucker, when the plane hit it and did the damage or whatever the case was. But I remember that it being, smoking, and it was on fire, and it was, it was just that visual of a building on fire, and, them saying that people were, jumping to avoid, they were jumping from the top of the fucking building. And if you've ever, not even if you've ever been to New York, but if you know how big the Twin Towers actually are, they're fucking tall as fuck. That people were jumping from the buildings to escape burning alive, so that's, to fathom that is unreal. You're either going to die from falling or you're going to die from burning alive. And it was just so surreal. But I remember on every news channel that was the case, and rightfully so. They're gonna cover a major event like that. And sure enough, for the weeks to follow, that was, and not even just the weeks to follow, but it's still even weeks, months, and years after the 2001 attack. It was it was just a major focus, and it was just a major turning point in general for, America as a whole. So, like I said, we just want to, remember the people that lost their lives on that day in 2001. So, like I said, do you remember where you were that day? Think about it. And, I don't want to dwell too much on it because it was a sad day in history, and we've, I don't want to say moved on, but, it's been, all these 20 plus years later, and, we don't want to open a Band-Aid, peel off a Band-Aid from a wound that, probably even still healing to this day. Terrorism and safety is a ongoing issue. So I don't want to. I don't want to gloss over it, but I don't want to stay on it too much. But rest in peace to the 2001, the people in 2001 that lost their lives during this day on September 11th. So rest in peace. Aside from that, I mean, today was a pretty good day. It was a beautiful day. A nice, crisp 80, I think I said 86 degrees, and it wasn't too hot. You could ride with the windows down and catch a good breeze. It was a nice day. Got a lot of things done because, like I said, as this podcast is called, my day off. I got some day off things done. Excuse me, gotta wipe my beak. Nose has been runny all day. But got some errands done. Did my laundry. Got a haircut. Cashed a check. I went to Walmart and. I don't know if you shop at Walmart or if you're a Target shopper or where you do your shopping. But I'll tell you, personally, I think Walmart has got to be my favorite store. Like, I could go to Walmart, and I literally did walk around that motherfucker, even to the, past the aisles that I didn't even need anything from. But, I love going there and just seeing, the changing of the seasons. Right now they're going from the summer merchandise into the fall merchandise, which ultimately means Halloween, which is next month. But they've already started putting out costumes and decorations and such. But not even just that, but just the merchandise in general, because something's always changing at Walmart. There's always something new. And like I said, yeah, I enjoy going to Walmart, getting moseying my way around and finding stuff. Got me a new keychain for my keys. Texas Tech, gotta represent. Some toiletries. A new SD card, dog food. A new shirt, because I don't got many shirts. I got a lot of work shirts. I don't have very much day off clothes. So I went ahead and treated myself to a shirt, Godfather t-shirt. So keep an eye out for the social media. You see that bad boy on me at some point sooner or later. So, like I said, just a little bit of everything at Walmart. And like I said, I cashed a check at Walmart. I don't know if I said that, but you can ultimately cash a check for those of you who ain't never been to Walmart. And if you cash a check in general these days, because I'm a lazy bastard, I didn't set up my direct deposit at work. So I still get a paper check. I don't know if you remember what those are. Looking back when I listen to this in the future, I'll be like, what paper checks? Like, what's the new thing going to be? They're just going to, bypass it and upload it to your fucking, even beyond debit cards and credit cards and bank accounts. It's going to be some weird ass method of receiving your paycheck. You're going to look back and think, what the hell was a paycheck? What was a paper paycheck? But, Walmart. One of the best stores in the fucking country, in the world, if not. And interestingly enough, as it pertains to cashing my check, the lady who cashed my check, her name was Chocolate. And there's no shortage of interesting names these days, and Chocolate, not that chocolate's an interesting word or just interesting in general. Everybody loves chocolate, which is probably why her parents named her Chocolate. Probably everybody loves it. She was a sweetheart of a lady. She was a black lady. Not that, who I don't know. Why would you? I guess it doesn't matter that she was black, but I guess it kind of does. Because, what if it was a white lady and her name was Chocolate? Like, what would you think? Like that? Like, a white girl named Chocolate is probably a stripper. But this girl was she was a fucking Walmart, clerk, cashier, whatever you want to call her. So she wasn't a stripper. And she didn't look like no stripper. I'll leave it at that. But, nice lady. Name was Chocolate. Also, I don't know if that was a real name or if that's just one of those names that, somebody let her play with the name tag maker. The fucking machine that prints the names. You can just put in whatever you want and it prints out a name. You can put it on your lanyard. And she just chose Chocolate. Maybe her name is something else. Maybe it is Chocolate. Who knows? But if it is Chocolate, that's a fucking dope ass name. Like, what do you name a brown person? Cinnamon. But even Cinnamon sounds like a stripper name. I don't know if Men, I don't know if you want your wife, your baby mom, or whatever to name your daughter Cinnamon. You probably think she might grow up to be a stripper. Or maybe she might turn out to be a nice lady and work at Walmart like Chocolate. You just never know. But it was an interesting name, and I appreciate names that aren't normal, but that aren't too over the top. So Chocolate was definitely an interesting name. I'll say that. Excuse me, I'm drinking a latte. It's 9 o'clock it's almost 10 o'clock at night. I'm doing this podcast late because, like I said, I get up early to begin with. I'm a morning person. I get up early and then I get shit done in the mornings. Like I said, I did all my errands and stuff like that. Came home, took care of some stuff, and I took a nap like an old person, and got up, ate dinner, did some more stuff around the house, and then did my reading. Still trying to stay on top of that, get ahead on that. So I took a nap, started got with the second half of my day, started pretty late. So that's why this podcast is being done at 9 o'clock. Usually I do this bad boy before I take a nap, but I didn't. So today that's why I'm doing it at 9 o'clock, and I'm taking coffee sips here and there. So you'll hear that I'm drinking a latte, like I said. Again, like as it pertains to Walmart, I wonder if rich people shop at Walmart, like rich, wealthy people, like who's rich? Athletes. Who else? People who hit the lottery, CEOs, business owners, high-level managers. These people with more money than the average person. I wonder if they still shop at Walmart. Because when you go to Walmart, that's the other thing too. Like, there's people from all kinds of, they look like from all walks of life. You see black, white, Mexican, Asian, and everything else in between, type of people that shop at Walmart. But I wonder if like any of those people are rich, but they still, they grew up shopping at Walmart. Their parents shopped at Walmart, that type of thing. And I wonder if they still do that. If you're a rich person, like if you had $1 million in your bank account that wasn't for paying bills, or living off of, if you would spend your money at Walmart still. Like if I was rich, I think I would still be, not if, but when I become rich and wealthy, you gotta have that mindset. I think I'm pretty sure. See, there you go again. I'm pretty sure I'll still be shopping at Walmart because, like I said, you can buy anything and everything at Walmart. You can buy TVs, game systems, clothes, stuff for the house, that type of stuff. I'm not really big on fancy stuff anyway, so I'm pretty sure I'll be down to earth still, and I'll buy value items, that you can purchase at Walmart. So, but I wonder if that is the case. I wonder if you'll ever come across like Bill Belichick at fucking Walmart, wherever the fuck he is now. Like when he was in New England playing or coaching the Patriots, I wonder if he shopped at Walmart, and I wonder if those people even go out in public. They might have people that do that for them, but I wonder if they're spending their money at Walmart. Something to think about. Next time you go to Walmart and you look to your left and you look to your right when you're in the checkout lane, try to size people up. Hey, what does this guy do for a living? Is he rich, or is he just your average person? Maybe they're there, maybe they're not. That's pretty much all I did today. Today wasn't, nothing fancy. So with that being said, let's get into last week. Last week's hours, 45 hours. It was busier than normal of a week, but it wasn't like as busy as we were expecting it to be, especially with all the sports coming back. Like I said, we got college football is back, and the first NFL first two games, Thursday and Friday, which we'll get into, and then Saturday too, with Texas Tech and college in general. But Sunday, it's the first full NFL Sunday. All those games were back, and it was a pretty good turnout at work. And usually NFL season is our busy season, and it was busy, but it wasn't as busy as it has been in years prior. So hopefully that won't be the norm, because I'd rather it be busy than it not be busy, because that's where I make my money as well. So like I said, Thursday, the first game, which was Chiefs versus the Ravens. Now that for a Thursday game and for the first NFL game of the season was busier than our Tech game and our which was Saturday, and our NFL Sunday, which the Cowboys played. The Cowboys are, I say, are a bigger deal than Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and even Texas Tech being here in Lubbock. There's an overly abundant amount of bean chick Cowboy fans here in Lubbock, Texas, just in Texas in general, as we've been over. But Thursday was definitely our busier day out of, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And Friday's game was the Eagles and the Packers, which I'm not sure if that was a busy day or not, because, like I said, I don't work at night, and that was at night. And I didn't get the 411 that it was a busy Friday. Busier than normal, I will say, but if it was busier than normal. So I'm not sure if that was the case. But like I said, we'll get into the football here in a second. Also, Friday, fucking my wife and my son were headed to fucking McDonald's and going down our neighborhood, because Walmart. McDonald's is not far from my house, so they went to go get food that night. And as they were going, as they were traversing to the magical McDonald's, they got hit by some other guy. He was coming home, and he was trying to pull into his driveway, and he said he was blinded by the sun. He didn't see my wife as they were crossing paths, and he tried to turn into his driveway, and he hit our car from the side. And luckily everybody was okay. My son, especially because my son is young. He is 9 years old. My son that was in the car. So luckily everybody was okay. My wife, my son, and then of course the other people you never want. Injuries or you don't wish injuries on people in a car accident. They're bad enough. Insurance is a hassle. So the last thing you want is for people to be injured. So everybody was okay. But it was an accident nonetheless. It was a fender bender. It wasn't, nobody's car was totaled. We could still drive our car. It just dinged up the side panel, and enough to the point where it fucked up the door, the ability to open the driver's side door. So for the first, the first, what was it, Friday, Saturday, maybe into Monday, I had to, not even just me, but my wife as well. Anytime she used the car, we had to, the door wouldn't open. It would barely open, maybe a couple of inches, and there's no way you could squeeze out of that, even my small ass. I'm not sliding out of no fucking 2-inch fucking doorway. So we were fucking hopping from the driver's side over to the passenger side and exiting through the passenger side door. So if you saw me, especially if you work with me, or if you saw me in public and you happen to be listening to this and you saw a guy jumping out of the passenger car and you never saw nobody come out of the driver's side, or if you happen to see through the windshield me hop over and then out of the driver to the passenger side, this guy's, that's fucking weird. What's going on there? That's the reason why. Motherfucker hit us hard enough that our door wouldn't fucking open on the driver's side. So that was a pain in the ass Friday. But like I said, everybody was all right. So that's the most important part. We both had insurance. Insurance is taking care of that. We'll fucking cross that bridge when we come to it. We've already filed the claim, done all that stuff. So we'll figure out what the next steps are in terms of insurance. Also, this didn't happen last week. It happened. It actually happened yesterday, Tuesday, and that's the fucking presidential debate. And I'm not gonna delve too deep into politics because I don't know where it was that I heard, but there's certain things that you don't talk about, and that's politics, paychecks, and religion. You don't get too far into the weeds on those subjects, so I'll just keep it brief. But as it pertains to presidential debates, as I've been an adult, I've only watched the Trump and Biden debates, and now the Trump and Harris debate. And and I know what it is. It's because Donald Trump he's a polarizing figure in real estate, entertainment, and then now politics. And he's he'll let you know what he thinks. Obviously, he's got no shortage of opinions. and it's entertaining if nothing else. You might go as far to say it might be annoying. I personally don't see it that way. Like, I like a person who tells it like it is. Do I agree with everything he says? No, but for the most part, what he says resonates. I guess with people who really they put feelings aside as it pertains to politics, and they focus on what he actually says and try to find if there's actually truth to what he's saying, and more times than not that is the case. So that's what drew me into him as a presidential candidate, and then eventually the actual president, and now former president running for re-election. So that's what draws me into these debates. And sure enough, man, like, I never in a million years would have thought that I'd be interested in watching presidential debates. And even if it wasn't Trump that was running for president and in these presidential debates, I probably wouldn't even give a fuck, honestly. Like, when and this is I don't give a fuck what color the motherfucker is either. This motherfucker, some call him orange, some call him white, but even when Obama was running for president, and I think he was running against Bush, I think. And not that like I said, I don't give a fuck what color it is. Obviously, Obama's black, but I don't give a fuck what color you are, or man or woman. I probably wouldn't I didn't give a fuck then about presidential debates, even years prior to that. Bush, Cheney, fucking what's his name, the cocksucker, Bill Clinton, whoever the fuck he ran against. I don't even know if I was old enough when he was president, but I could give a fuck. I couldn't give a fuck less about those presidential debates years past. But knowing what I know about Trump, as it pertains to his business acumen and his entertainment personality, I know a little bit more about him, and it just something about those factors draws me into the presidential debates that he's in, and sure enough, he doesn't hold back in these debates, and I find that entertaining and captivating, if anything. Again, I don't agree with everything he says, but he there's some truth to what he's saying, and I like when people say it the way it is, as opposed to like giving these cookie cutter polished up answers, like I know Biden didn't do that. Biden, Sleepy Joe, Grandpa Joe. So I won't say that he had cookie cutter answers or polished answers, because he didn't. He's a mumbling, stuttering fuck. But Kamala Harris, she would give like your typical politician, presidential candidate type, and she is vice president, but she give those type of answers. Like, it was real cookie cutter, and she was like pandering to the people, which I guess is good. You want to pander to the people you're trying to get the votes from, but I don't know. And it's, she's pandering to the people who use feelings instead of logic when they, in terms of thinking about these people as president. They're going to, what she says, how she says it, is going to, it works in her favor. But Trump, like I said, if you're a logical person and you listen to what he's saying, and you are objective in your everyday life, and you compare what he says to how it is in real life, you gotta find your medium, and really do your due diligence in terms of what you believe from either side. So it's like I said, never in a million years did I think that I would be interested in these presidential campaigns, presidential debates, but I was, and sure enough, man, like I said, all the Trump and Biden campaign debates, and now the Trump and Harris debate, I watched them from literally beginning to end. Who'd have thought? And my biggest takeaways was that I have two. She, like I said, obviously you don't have to like or agree with Donald Trump, but he's been in the president. he's been the president and he has a proven track record, right? And then the Biden and Harris administration, you also have a track record. And what you got to think about is whose administration did you have a better quality of life in? And just that question alone should, kind of open your eyes a little bit to do more research, especially if you don't like the other side, or either side. You gotta be objective about it. But you gotta look at your life, your quality of life during both administrations. And his what he said at the end of at the closing statements, he says that she's been in office as vice president for the past 3.5 years, and all these promises that she's making, in terms of if she becomes president, why didn't she do that while she's been in office? Why are you making these promises and you haven't done that while you've been in office? Like, nothing has been good. If it very little, I'll say. You can't. Maybe it's not all bad, but it's definitely, for a majority of their administration, it's been bad. So, why didn't she do anything? Why didn't she fix anything? Why is our quality of life not as good as, dare I say, when former President Trump was in the office, right? And then the second takeaway, when you, I don't know if you've seen the clip. It was the vice presidential debate between Mike Pence and Kamala Harris, where they asked Kamala Harris a question, and then Pence, chimes in just a little bit, and she, I'm talking. Excuse me, I'm talking. And she has that I don't like the way her face is, bro. Like, and the way she, her demeanor as it pertains to rebuttals. And when she was interrupted, it wasn't even an interruption. Like, he didn't give an outburst. He just, chimed in just a little bit. And she, excuse me, I'm talking. I was talking. And this debate, Trump did the same thing to her. He said, excuse me, it's my turn to talk. I'm talking. He said, does that sound familiar? And, the look on her face, man, she tried to hold it together. But you could tell, she was like, God damn, this son of a bitch. So, those are my two biggest takeaways. And that's going to be what do they call it? I don't know if it's a meme, but it's going to be like a short clip that lives on forever. Like, he checked her in terms of, interrupting. No, you're not going to do it to you. You did it to somebody, I'm going to do it to you. And see how you like it, bitch. Respectfully. So, those are my biggest takeaways from the presidential debates. Now, where you fall on either side, who you're going to vote for, that's your business. I don't vote. I got into some trouble early on as a kid, so I can't vote. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm gonna vote for either side or whatever the fuck. Even if I could, that, like I said, that's something you don't divulge who you're gonna vote for. So that's your business. Do what you do, but be objective about it. Be responsible with your vote, I will say too. Now, next thing, as it pertains to, and not even last week, but just yesterday, since the last time we talked, which was, last week, but yesterday, I finally got the call that I was waiting for, man. And, that the job that I was applying for, the CDL job, truck driving job. You don't know what a CDL is, but the truck driving job that I was waiting for the call. I finally got it yesterday, man, and yesterday was a hard day at work, too. It was a busy day. Not even busy, but it started off rough because we were having a corporate inspection. Guy from corporate came down and was checking out everything at the store, and sure enough, there was, all our bases weren't covered, so came in early and had to do a lot of cleaning, and that, set me behind in terms of opening, doing my duties as an opener. It set me so far behind, bro. So it was a fucked up start to the day. But I got the good news, and I will be starting orientation for this new job next week on Tuesday. So I'll probably have to do it. I'll have to record either Monday or Tuesday. No, probably. I'll probably have to do it Tuesday because Monday I'm gonna close. I close on Sunday night, and then I'll probably be opening Monday morning, and I gotta train somebody at my current job. So I'm gonna be tired that day. I probably won't get to record episode 6. So I'll probably do it Tuesday after I get done with orientation. So I'll fill you in as to how that goes. And it ties into why I dubbed myself as Jamie the Conqueror. That's my nickname that I gave myself. And it's not even just my nickname, it's my mission. So part of my mission is to acquire new skill. Well, first off, it was to get better at my current job, which I did. I became I came from an entry-level employee to a trainer, and then, working my way up in terms of raises. So that was my goal, and then obviously to acquire new skills and to further increase my earnings. And I've conquered that. That is another goal that I've conquered, which ties into my name and my mission. So new skills, increased earnings, that furthers my plan down the road. And not even just assuming that I stick with this job and I make it at this job, because I know I will. I'm good at anything I put my mind to. So I will do that, and I'll start. They said I'll do orientation next week, and then the following week I'll start training for 6 weeks on a truck, with the trainer. So, I'll be doing that, and then once I get on my own, and what I take from, if you've heard from my past episodes, Patrick Bay David, what he stresses is to, as it pertains to work, you got to outwork, you got to out-improve, and you got to outlast the people around you. And sure enough, that's what I plan on doing with this job. I'm going to outwork the people there. I'm going to out-improve, and I plan on sticking with this job and this type of job field for a while. And, there's money to be made in this industry. And, that's my goal, to make the money, to further along my finances, and to build my portfolio. And, it starts with the new skill that I've acquired and the new job that I have also acquired. So, look out for the beginning of phase 1. And that's coming to you real soon, January 2025. So, look forward to that. Now, let's get into some topics, right? Topic number 1. Let me sip this coffee real quick before I get into it. Now, again, topic number 1. January, not January, what the fuck am I thinking? Coffee's got my brain running fast. This Friday happens to be Friday the 13th, and I'm pretty sure it's a big thing anywhere you live, but here in Lubbock we have no shortage of tattoo shops, and every Friday the 13th, they always have tattoo specials. You can get a $13 small tattoo, and at virtually any tattoo shop. And sure enough, like I said, there's no shortage of tattoo shops here in Lubbock. And you can literally stand anywhere and throw a fucking rock and hit a tattoo shop. And that my topic is that there are too many tattoo shops. And not even just that, but tattoos are not cheap at all. No matter if it's a small tattoo, aside from these $13 tattoos on Friday the 13th, anytime you get a tattoo, even a small one, it's going to cost you $50, $100, whatever. And then if you get obviously a big detailed intricate tattoo or something like that, it's going to cost you more. Literally an arm and a leg. Sometimes, a couple $100 for a tattoo, and that's not cheap, especially especially if you got responsibilities, bills, and you don't have a roommate or somebody you split bills with, multiple incomes in your household. How are you people coming up with this money to get tattoos all the goddamn time? Anytime you look at somebody, you see people are fucking, more and more people are sleeved out, tattooed legs, arms, fucking backs, necks, faces. People got no shortage. There's no shortage of tattoo shops. There's no shortage of tattoos on motherfuckers. That motherfuckers got. So, and what people like to call it is tattoo therapy. And I don't understand it because, and this is, I guess, hypocritical in a way, but I have multiple tattoos as well. And on my forearm, I have a whole. It's called the Gangster's Prayer. It's a tattoo on my forearm, so it's like literally the length of my forearm. And aside from that, I've got tattoos on my other arm. I've got a tattoo on my back. That's fucked up. That's different. Well, I'll get into that too, but that's also fucked up. So I've got a handful of tattoos myself, but I got all these when I was a youngster. And when I say youngster, I mean like my late teens and my early 20s. I haven't gotten a tattoo in fucking years. I wouldn't even know what to get, even if I wanted to get a tattoo. Like, I don't even have that in mind. But that also ties into like, how are people just getting tattooed? Like, how do you fathom in your mind what tattoo you're gonna get? Like, and when you don't really have a clear idea, you just go into a tattoo and you just get like something that you think looks cute. Like maybe that because they have like they have like notebooks of tattoos that they've done. You just choose a fucking tattoo, which I think is stupid. What it used to be when tattoos first started becoming popular was that you got something that meant something that was meaningful. You get and the most popular one is people to get their last names. And sure enough, I have my last name. That was my first tattoo, was my last name. So, but it means something. It means my last name, represent for your family, and it evolved from there. And it just people are getting, like, at work. I work with a bunch of women, and sure enough, I think women have more tattoos than guys do these days. Women are getting those fucking women are getting fucking chest tattoos, between their titties. They got those big under their tits, those chest tattoos. They're like not even tribal, but it's just a design. I wouldn't know what to call it. Not tribal, but something along those lines. And it's just a design under your tits. And most women have that. They're getting, obviously on their arms and on their legs, on their butt cheeks. That's a real big thing that where I work. Like, women got tattoos on their asses. I think a big one has, like, it's got love. It says love in some shape, form, or fashion. Like, love yourself, love only love. Love others, that type of shit. Like, it's real common amongst girls at my job, which is weird. Like, we all got the same tattoo now. Like, what's going on? Like, nobody can think for themselves. We're just gonna get the same tattoo because it looks cute. Get something original, man. Get something, or get not original, but get something creative. They got. Roman numerals are a big one, the year you were born, and most of these bitches, and I say that respectfully, but it doesn't sound like it, but these girls that got were all born in the same year, most of them. 2 out of 3 girls are fucking born in the same year where I work, like 1990. Not even 1990. What am I talking about? These girls were born in the 2000s, and that's, like I said, it's just Roman numerals are a big thing. The butterfly. You see a lot of girls at my job with the butterfly tattoo. Whatever that means. Hopefully, it's nothing like I've heard, like, it's in some instances it has to deal with abuse or just something like that. It's like traumatic. It's a traumatic reminder or something like that. But a lot of girls have it, and girls got weird ass scary tattoos. Not even scary, but as it pertains to, like, Halloween, they got the Jason mask, the Scream mask, knives. A knife. Just things that relate to Friday the 13th. Like, everybody's getting the fucking Friday the 13th tattoo, and everybody's getting, half the people's tattoos are along the same lines, and it's the weirdest phenomenon that's caught on recently. Is it's too many fucking silly ass tattoos. Like I said, it used to be your name, portraits of a fucking family member. It was something cool. Skulls. That's another thing that was big, and now it's like I said, I wouldn't even say evolved, but it's kind of devolved into, like, some simple ass shit. Like it's just gotten way out of hand, this tattoo culture and tattoo therapy. Calling it tattoo therapy is is silly as fuck. Because anytime I've gotten a tattoo, it never felt good. It didn't feel bad, but it definitely didn't feel good. It wasn't like therapeutic in any shape or form or fashion. People just, I think they like the clout of getting a tattoo. Like, oh, I'm cool because I got another tattoo. Like, everybody's getting tattoos that are cool. Don't you want to be cool? No, bitch. Stop getting tattoos. Fucking buy a book, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, use your money for something useful. Don't nobody, care about your fucking tattoo. They're gonna ask about it. You're gonna tell them a fucking story that doesn't amount to anything. It's just, oh, I got it because it was cute, bitch. Get out of my face. Go spend some money on a skill, bitch. So that's my first topic is tattoos. My second topic kind of ties into tattoos. Not I'll just tell you. So my second topic is I hate people that complain about adulting. Sure, it's not easy. I take that back. It is easy as long as you know what you're doing. Like, if you're a responsible adult, you're responsible with your finances. I feel like adulting is easy, and I am the only out of me and my wife, I'm the only one that works. And we don't live a luxurious life, but I got a good life, man. I provided a good life for my people. You know what I'm saying? I got a house. We got internet. We got fucking Xboxes, TVs, PlayStations, fucking bunk beds that you use a remote to recline and adjust the fucking angles and shit. I got dogs, cats. We got food in the fucking refrigerator all the time. I got toilet paper all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're on top of your shit, adulting is not hard. It's only hard when you're irresponsible, like with your finances, and that's where a lot of stress comes from. Is people who are bad with money, in my opinion, is that people who are bad with money and they just don't know when to stop spending it when they don't have it or they're short on it. Take care of your shit first and then spend your money. Don't spend all of it because you never want to be stretched. So that's one thing I've learned to control, is not to be, hurting for money. I always got a little bit of money. Not a lot of money, but I got a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the people that complain about adulting, they're always, they make bad decisions, period. Like, first off, they got bad work ethics, job hopping all the time. So that's why they don't have money, and that's why they struggle to pay their bills, and then that's why they're always working. And then when you're always working because you're falling behind and because you're job hopping, it burns you out, right? Of course, naturally that's what's going to happen. So you got bad work ethic to start off with, and then you just make bad decisions with your money when you get it. So adulting is not that hard, and that's the other thing as it ties into tattoos. People are buying fucking tattoos. You know what I'm saying? Like, not all the time they're buying tattoos, but where I work, girls are always talking about the next tattoo they're gonna get or what they would like to get when they get some money and shit like that. Like, I'm telling you, man, buy yourself a skill and go on a trip, have some experiences or something like that. Get ahead so that way you can do all the above. You know what I'm saying? Take care of first things first, bitch. Before you start spending all your money, and then adulting wouldn't be so bad. So that was my second topic. And you know what? As it pertains to my second topic, complaining about people who are the younger generation that complains about adulting, have I become the old guy that complains about the youngsters? Is that what Is that what I've become, or is it just a fact that the younger generation really is a lot more irresponsible than say my generation or the generation before me, like my parents or my older my older cousins, you know what I'm saying? Like, my cousins that are in their late, early, not early because I'm in my early 30s, but like mid 30s or late 30s, which I don't have. They're all in like their mid 30s, I guess. But they were responsible. You know what I'm saying? Like, we came up with good advice, solid advice, as it pertains to money. You know what I'm saying? Like, pay your bills and, just be smart with your money. Put it in a savings account, which is not the smartest advice, but it's smart to an extent because you're not making money when your money is in a savings account. And if you are making money, it's very little. So, I guess you got to take the good advice and from the old school, and then you got to take a little bit of advice from the new school. Like, you got to You got to make your money work for you, that type of thing. But it starts with having a savings. You don't want, like I said, you don't want to be broke all the time. So don't spend it, save it, and now make it work for you. So that way, you've always got a little bit of money to fall back on in case of hard times or whatever the case may be. So I guess I don't know if you tell me, am I the old guy, or is it just is it what it is that the youngsters are just bad decision makers? You tell me. Now, like I said, Texas Tech, and this is where we get into the sports. So, like I said, Thursday was the NFL Chiefs versus the Ravens, right? Let me get to my stat sheet. My stat sheet here. Chiefs versus the Ravens. Chiefs win 27-20, and Chiefs put up a total of 353 yards, passing 281, rushing 72. And the Ravens put up a total of 452 yards, passing 267, rushing 187. And, your key players, we got Mahomes, 20 for 28, 291 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Lamar Jackson, 26 for 41, 273 yards, 1 touchdown, 16 carries, 122 yards on those 16 carries. So, it looked like your classic Chiefs and Ravens football game. You know what I'm saying? They both put points on the board. They both moved the ball really well. Both quarterbacks did what they normally do, and that was my biggest takeaway from this game was that it was a classic Mahomes and Chiefs football game. They mixed it up well. They passed to get the ball down the field, and then they used the rushing to complete the drives. And sure enough, that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? Lamar Jackson, he did what he normally does. He can make the passes, and he can definitely use his fucking feet to get the ball moving as well. You know what I'm saying? If the defense happens to be on top of the pass, which for the most part they weren't. You know what I'm saying? Like they still allowed 267 yards, and the biggest difference was the rushing yards in terms of the Ravens with 185 yards, 122 coming on the feet of Lamar Jackson. And with the addition of Derrick Henry, I expected them to use Derrick Henry in the rushing game a lot more, but he did come through nonetheless in the short runs, especially on the goal line. He got a touchdown because he's a big motherfucking back. And he can move his way into the end zone. And it wasn't necessarily a goal line touchdown, but it was in that red zone area. You know what I'm saying, like 10 yards out, and where he's got some room to build up some speed, and then penetrate the holes. And be able to make some space and get into the end zone. Sure enough, that's what he did with his first touchdown with the Ravens. So, I mean, like as good as Lamar Jackson did, he did miss some key throws. He missed one in the end zone to that would have tied the game, and then he ended up throwing a touchdown again in the end zone. But the receiver that caught it, his toes, like literally the tips of his toes, were in the out of bounds. They were out of bounds. And the touchdown didn't stand. And if it would have, they would have gone for 2, and they would have potentially won the game with a 2-point conversion. But it didn't stand, and it just goes to show you, man, these motherfuckers, this guy with the big ass feet, it hurt the Ravens' chances of winning. He was just literally like half an inch out of bounds, but out of bounds enough to the point where they didn't count the touchdown. So, would they have made the 2-point conversion and won that game? I would say it's likely, especially with Derrick Henry in the backfield. So that cost them big ass feet. Next, Friday we had the Packers versus the Eagles. Eagles beat the Packers 34-29. Eagles total yards 410, passing 266, rushing 144. Packers total yards 414, passing 251, rushing 163. And it was a classic Philadelphia offense. And I say classic, not last year classic, but the year prior to that, man. Like they were on their shit, which is what got them to the Super Bowl. And that close loss to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl that year. Jalen Hurts, 20 for 34, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 13 carries for 33 yards. And with the addition of Saquon Barkley from the Giants, he didn't have very much success in New York, but he had a big fucking breakout game with Philadelphia for his first game. 24 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions, 23 yards, and 1 touchdown. 3 touchdowns overall for Saquon, and and plus 100 yards. Like that's a damn good game for your first game, for any game, for a game just in general. 3 touchdowns with 100 yards. That's good for any running back in the league. But as it pertains to Saquon, who's got these big expectations behind him, he sure enough he came from New York, first game out, delivers big. My takeaways was minus the 2 interceptions. Philadelphia played lights out, man, and Barkley had a breakout first game, and again, as it pertains to the interceptions, if he wouldn't have got intercepted twice, man, it would have been what's 14 more fucking points? 48 would have been 48-29. God damn it! Like they'd have blown the fucking brakes off these motherfuckers, off the Packers. So that's my takeaways from that. Saturday, Texas Tech versus Washington State on the road. It was a loss, and it was. I feel like it could have been avoided if Tech would have capitalized on their drives, which is easier said than done, right? I'm no quarterback. I'm no college athlete. I'm no athlete in general, but from a spectator's perspective, had they capitalized on their drives, which were pretty successful. If they'd have capitalized on those drives, I think they would have got away with the win. It'd have been a close win, but they would have got away with the win nonetheless. Washington State, total yards, 416, passing 115, rushing 301. Note that, 301 rushing yards from Washington State. Texas Tech, total yards, 491, passing 343, rushing 148, 2 fumbles, and 2 interceptions. So, when you hear those numbers, 491 fucking total yards. They moved the ball really well, passing and rushing. Texas Tech did, but the 2 fumbles and the 2 interceptions, that definitely cost them, because those are potentially scoring drives themselves. You know what I'm saying? 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. So that's 7, 14, 21, 28 points. Plus the 16 that they did put on the board, that's a win for Texas Tech right there, man, if they'd have capitalized on those drives. So, Texas Tech quarterback Morton, 34 50 for 58, 323 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He put up some good numbers, but like I said, easier said than done. He threw 2 interceptions, and I got to watch that game back and see if those interceptions could have been avoided or if that was just good defense. So I'll take a look at that. Washington State quarterback Mateer, 9 for 19, 115 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 21 carries for 197 yards and 1 touchdown. So that's a bad motherfucker, right? The quarterback for Washington State. Now, it wasn't just him, but the running game for Washington State, they tore that ass up overall, man. And I don't know if that's, it's not good defense because they allowed that many rushing yards. Look, for what was it? What the fuck is it? Passing 148 rushing yards. No, that's Tex. 301 rushing yards. So the defense couldn't stop 301 yards on the feet, and that's a big problem, right? You can't. It's one thing for them to throw the ball and be able to complete. If it was 300 yards, like that's I don't know if that's to be expected, but defending the run, I feel like is a lot easier to do than defending the pass. And I played football in middle school. I played football in high school. Obviously not at a high level. If you know me, like I said, I'm no standout athlete, but I did play defense. So I know that it's as long as I played defensive end in middle school, so I know what it's like to play on the line, defensive line, and it was I wouldn't say easy, but I got to the ball. Not regularly, but I did get to the ball. I was able to stop some of the runs in the backfield back in my football days in my youth. So I feel like it's easier to defend the run than it is to defend the pass because there's a lot more space in terms of the passing game. So defensive wise for Texas Tech, they got to do better. Stopping the run game of any team that they come across. And they couldn't do it against Washington. And then, again, the 4 turnovers, that cost them a potential win. So, hopefully they tighten that down and they come into next week's game against North Texas and they shut that shit down. They're 1-1. We don't want it to get negative here. We want to stay in the win. We want our wins to be higher than our losses. So that's that. Let's see. Sunday, we get into Sunday, like I said, the first full NFL Sunday, and the Broncos. It was a sad Sunday. I'll say that. It started off a sad Saturday with Texas Tech losing, but into Sunday, I wanted, obviously I fuck with the Broncos. That's my team, and I wanted them to win. I wanted Texas Tech to win, and they didn't do it Saturday. So I went into Sunday feeling a little bit down in the dumps, but looking forward to the first NFL Sunday nonetheless. And sure enough, the Broncos let me down, man. Fucking broke my heart in the game opener. But, with Bo Nix playing in his first professional game, it's I guess to be expected. Not everybody does good in their first game, but it's how they bounce back from their first game if they learn to deal with being in the professionals, to deal with being in the pros, seeing how they bounce back from that. So they lost 20-26 total yards, 231 passing, 132 rushing, 99, 1 fumble, 2 interceptions for the Broncos. And Seahawks totaled 304 yards. We don't really give a fuck about the Seahawks, but they did capitalize nonetheless on our defense, and as well as our offense not being able to capitalize. And it wasn't just Bo Nix, right? Because I watched a little bit of that game, and then I watched it back on the highlights, what I wasn't able to catch because I was working when the game was playing. So, there were some passes that our receivers, there were some good passes they could have caught that they didn't. That probably would have changed, not even probably, but they would have changed the course of the game. And like I said, the fumble and the 2 interceptions didn't help. So that's 7, 14, 21 on those turnovers. That's 21 points potentially they could have had. They'd have come out of there with the win if that wasn't the case. The defense, like I said, they gave up plays. Geno Smith was a huge rushing touchdown. It's for 20-plus yards. He got, some open space, and he ran for a touchdown and, helped them build the momentum and change the fucking course of the game. So the defense gave that up. And like I said, the drop passes that could have changed the course of the game as well. So, the drop passes as well as Bo Nix probably not being able to settle into not being comfortable in his first professional game. Not even comfortable might not even be the best way to describe it because, the Broncos were hot in preseason. They went 3-0 in the preseason, but you're playing against other newcomers, right, in preseason that are looking to get a starting position, come regular season. So you're not playing against the best of the best. And that might have been what contributed to the success of the Broncos in preseason. And, when, come the first regular season game, it's a lot different. The atmosphere is different. The crowd's different. You're playing against nothing but starters now. And then, the starters as well as starters in terms of the veterans and the newcomers that earn starting positions, but more so the veterans. And then with Bo Nix being a newcomer, all the podcasts and sports shows that I've heard, you learn and you hear that college football and professional football are two different animals, right? So that could have also been what contributed to the down, to the loss, of Bo Nix and the Broncos in their first in their season opener against Seattle. So we'll see how he bounces back in week 2 against the Steelers. Steelers got a good defense as well, but assuming Bo Nix, tightens down on what got the best of them in game one, and assuming that the wide receivers bring their fucking hands this time, I feel like that's a game, that's a win for us as well. They didn't do too well offensively, the Steelers, in week one. In this first weekend, they only put up, I think, like 15 fucking points in their win against whoever the fuck they played. It wasn't a standout game, which I'll get to here in a second on my standouts, but it wasn't one of those. The Steelers wasn't that team, but they do have a good defense from what it appeared. So we'll see how Bo Nix does going into week two. Fingers crossed. Let's get into the pinche Cowboys versus the Browns. Cowboys win 33-17. Cowboys total yards 265, passing 163, rushing 102. Browns total yards 230, passing 137, rushing 93. So the Browns are the past couple of years they've had a top 3 defense. Last year especially, like they had a lights out defense, right? They didn't allow too many points. They weren't the best team offensively, but defense definitely didn't lose them the game. So, they didn't allow too many points. They were pretty solid overall as a top 3 defense. So going into this first week, which, again, before I get into that, we do a fantasy football, league where I work, the guys there. And I picked up the Browns, because they've been a top 3 defense. But sure enough, they didn't fucking that wasn't the case. Sunday, in their 33-17 loss. Cowboys aren't I'll take that back. Cowboys, they start off pretty good. It's usually towards the end of the year where they fall apart, and it was to be expected. I'm not a Cowboy fan, but they do pretty well. They're better than good team. And obviously they put up 33 points against a solid Browns defense. And, Dak Prescott looked good. He was 19 for 32, 179 yards and a touchdown. He made all the passes when he needed to. He ran and got yards when needed. So he no interceptions, no fumbles. Nothing bad to say about Dak Prescott. Especially, all these motherfuckers signing new contracts at the end of preseason. That probably helped his confidence going into this first game. Sure enough, he played a pretty solid game. Kickoff return by the Cowboys was also fucking beautiful. It looked like almost like how a rushing play would develop. Like he found you come from the backfield, obviously from the kickoff, and obviously from the running backs position. You come from the backfield, you build up speed, you find the hole, you penetrate the hole, pause, and you capitalize. When you get into open space. Sure enough. Whoever the fuck the fucking kick returner was, he sure enough, it was a thing of beauty, man. So good kickoff return for a touchdown, and also fucking the kicker for the Cowboys, Aubrey, a bunch of solid fucking field goals, to put extra points on the board. Not even extra points as in terms of touchdown extra points, but extra points in general, like the 3-point extra points. He was good from all over the field, man. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60 yards. He made everything he was supposed to. So lights out by the kicker. I wasn't lucky enough to pick up Aubrey in the fantasy draft, but he definitely scored big points in terms of fantasy draft league. So big ups to them. Cowboys still suck. Let's see. So notable quick scores and takeaways from the rest of Sunday. We're just going to rattle these off. We'll break these down a little bit. But the Saints beat the Panthers 47-10. Derek Carr had a good game, 200 yards and 3 fucking touchdowns. The Panthers aren't really they're not known for being a good team. Ever since that, they've fallen apart, with Cam Newton and the loss of with the loss of Cam Newton and more importantly Christian McCaffrey. They've not been good as of late. So Derek Carr looked good, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, like I said. And Houston beats Indianapolis. Texans beat the Colts 29-27. And, the key thing on this is that I have, well, for me at least, I have a lot of fantasy league players from Houston. I got C.J. Stroud, the quarterback. I got Mixon, the running back, and I got Stephon Diggs, the wide receiver, and they all came through for me this past Sunday. So 29-27 win for the Texans. C.J. Stroud, 234 for 2 touchdowns. Mixon, 159 yards, a touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 6 receptions, 33 yards, and 2 fucking touchdowns. Like, come on, man. They fired on all cylinders, man. They put up 29 points. Everybody performed like as expected. And quick note about the fantasy league that I'm in. This is the first year. I've done it this is my 3rd year. The past few years, I've never scored. I didn't get graded a good grade on my fantasy team. It's always been like a D or a C at the best. This year I scored an A. I scored the overall best draft. And sure enough, everybody that I drafted came through in spades for me, especially these Houston players that I just named. So, I'll tell you about that in the weeks to come. See how we're doing, because we're playing for big money, big pot. So we'll see if I like I said, I'm a degenerate gambler. So we'll tell you how that plays out as the weeks progress. Bills defeat the Cardinals. Bills Mafia, 34-28. Josh Allen, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9 carries for 39 yards, and 2 additional touchdowns. Josh Allen played fucking lights out in the Bills win. His 2 rushing touchdowns were a fucking thing of beauty. Like his first one, same thing. Got some open space and was able to make some things happen in the open space to get the touchdown. The first one, he put his shoulder down and he powered through to get the fucking, to break the fucking, to break the line to get the touchdown. He powered through to get it. And then the second rushing touchdown he fucking hurdles a defender. Like, this is a white boy. They say white boys can't jump. This motherfucker cleared the defender, got into the end zone, scored his second rushing touchdown as well as his 2 touchdowns in the air. So big ups to Josh Allen and the Bills Mafia. Dolphins beat the Jaguars. The battle in Florida, 20-17. The Bucks beat the Redskins, and I'm gonna call them Redskins because that's some classic shit. I don't give a fuck about the Commanders. We're gonna call them the Redskins. Classic, baby. OG. Bucks beat the Redskins 37-20. Baker Mayfield had a big game, 289 yards and 4 touchdowns. Redskins are notoriously known for being, they're not the best team, but they're not the worst team. I think the Panthers are probably the worst team, but the Redskins have a good, I'd probably say like a top 10 defense and special teams. But they didn't bring it for the loss against the Bucks. Baker Mayfield, like I said, 289 yards and 4 touchdowns. Big breakout game for Baker Mayfield. They're in Tampa. The Lions, not former contender, but they in the playoffs they made it pretty far last year. So the Lions beat the Rams, former Super Bowl champions, in overtime, 26-20. That was a good game. They got it done all over the field. In terms of passing and rushing, rushing came through when it needed to. That's how they won. Derek Montgomery, also on my fantasy team, wins the game with a 1-yard line touchdown. They're on the goal line, scores to win the game. Jared Goff had a better than good game as well. Threw a touchdown. I think he also had an interception, but for the most part, he did pretty good. With the Lions beating the Rams 26-20. 49ers, Super Bowl contender last year. Come back this year to beat the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, they spoil his homecoming, his return from injury from last year, the Achilles injury. Spoil his return, 32-19. I just, the stats, because Aaron Rodgers, everybody expects big things from Eric. Everybody expects big things from Eric. Fucking pinche Eric. From Aaron Rodgers. So, his stats, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But his 1 touchdown that he did throw, he looked like the Aaron Rodgers of old. It was like a 20, 30 yard touchdown. And it was a floater. It was a thing of beauty into the end zone. So he looked like, the Aaron Rodgers of old in that aspect. So, we'll see if he continues to get comfortable in his return. Hopefully he trusts his Achilles, that it's healed. And, goddamn cat, you making noise. Hey, stop doing that. Damn cats. So we'll see how he does in week 2 and in the weeks to come. So Aaron Rodgers, look out. 49ers also. This is another thing because the 49ers were also part of my week 1 standouts. Like I said, being that they were last year's Super Bowl contenders, they got the win 32-19. Like I said, and this was minus Christian McCaffrey, who is probably the best running back in the league right now. And he's a white boy. Man, this motherfucker can run, he can jump, he can catch, he can do all the above, man. And they scored 32 points minus Christian McCaffrey. So we'll see how they go in the weeks coming. Even when they do bring him back, they'll probably continue to dominate like they did last year. With the just falling short to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But they're bad motherfuckers nonetheless. Week 1 standout, 49ers. The Cowboys with a win over with a win over a 2024 top 3 defense in the Browns. They were able to put that many points up against them and move the ball effectively. They stood out pretty well week 1. We'll see how they do going into next week against Derek Carr and the Saints, who beat the brakes off of the Panthers this week or this past weekend. We'll see how that plays out. Baker Mayfield with a big game, like I said, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns over the Redskins. That was a huge. I think he probably had the most touchdowns in terms of passing out of all the quarterbacks this Sunday and Friday and Thursday with those 2 games. Baker Mayfield, big game. Josh Allen with a fucking huge game, 2 touchdowns in the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground. He was a bad motherfucker on Sunday. Former. Made it far on the fucking playoff team. I don't remember if they went to the Super Bowl recently, but they've always been a top contender. So Josh Allen and the Bills Mafia, we'll see how they do next week. Houston Texans offense, like I said, firing on all cylinders. Like I said, they had a huge week 1. Derek Carr, like I said, against the Panthers, 3 touchdowns. We'll see if that's not just a fluke, being that they played the Panthers, who suck, respectively. And then Saquon Barkley, last but not least, with his big breakout game there in Philly. We'll see if all these guys and teams can continue the momentum going into next week. And hopefully the fucking Broncos can, settle in and start to fire on some cylinders, maybe not all, early on, or maybe they will, maybe they won't. You just never know. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Looking forward to this next week. So, my last topic. Now that we got the sports out of the way, I think I'm going to start. This is going to be a segment, and it's going to be called "Let's Talk About Jerk-Offs." And this week happens to be. The jerk-offs that I'm talking about is the cats that like to fucking try to merge into the lane last minute. Like, motherfucker, you knew you were supposed to get into my lane a long time ago, right? You knew you were going, right? But you're gonna play the fucking late card, and you think I'm gonna show sympathy on you because you're trying to get into this lane. Bitch, you knew you're supposed to merge a long time ago, man. You're gonna have to fucking wait your turn. Depending how I feel that day is when you'll get past me to get in this lane. So, you're a jerk off if you try to merge lanes late. Also, the next jerk offs that I want to talk about is, like I said, I work in a bar, and it's notorious for guys to charge their phones while they're sitting at the bar. Who the fuck does that? Like, what kind of jerk off comes to the bar and asks for a charger to charge their phone while you're at the bar? Man, nigga, you knew what percent your phone was at when you left the house, motherfucker. You should have charged that bitch before you came in. And you trying to talk to girls by asking them, can you borrow a charger? Motherfucker, please. Grow some nuts. Just start a conversation the old school way, bro. Don't ask for a fucking charger. Charge your phone before you leave the house, motherfucker. Get it together. With that being said, I'm looking forward to this next week full of sports. It's going to be a busy week at work, my current job. Sports bar, not even a sports bar, but it's just a bar in general, bar and restaurant. There's a lot of sports going on this week. Saturday, Texas Tech versus North Texas here in Lubbock. That's going to be a good one. Hopefully Tech gets their finger out of their ass and they can tighten down on what they need to tighten down on. Week 2, the NFL, the Broncos versus the Steelers, Cowboys versus the Saints. Can Derek Carr keep the momentum going? Saturday we got UFC 306, I believe. O'Malley versus Dwalishvili, the striker versus the wrestler. We'll see who who brings their fucking A game. Also Saturday, going head to head with the UFC, we got boxing. We got Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga. I don't know anything about this Berlanga cat. Doesn't mean he can't win, but Canelo is a bad motherfucker, right? Last loss coming to Dimitri Bivol. That was a great fucking fight on Bivol's end. So, just because you don't know who he is doesn't mean that he can't win. So I look forward to seeing how that plays out. And then, last but not least, and probably the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to next week is orientation at my new job, right? The next chapter in the beginning of phase 1. So looking forward to that's, with the sports being this week and then my orientation starting next week. I look forward to all of it. So I'll talk to you next week. Until then, have a great week. Peace.